Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody!
Giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Oh, yeah. Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live, streaming live on YouTube and Facebook, and streaming live from Hattie B's Hot Chicken. I am your host, Will Skywalker Steele. Boom! You see it. You see it. We are live from Hattie B's, and we're giving away. This is the last day to qualify to give away our hat and football signed by one, the only Tyler Smith. Should have been Rookie of the Year last year, but Tyler Smith signed football and hat. Final day to give it away today. I'll give you all the details on that in a second. But the Cowboys wrap up their mini camp and they head towards this extremely long break that I'm not really excited about, but it is what it is. Before they head to break, though, the Cowboys assistants, the defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, Schotty, and Dan Quinn got a chance to speak. So we'll talk a little bit about what they had to say. And then my hot take today, y'all. It's a juicy one. It's a colossal one. It's one of those ones where I am really probably most confident in this hot take than all the other hot takes. So make sure y'all stick around for that. Plus, in the roundup, Cowboys Nation, we get a little bit of an injury update and a quick spotlight on kind of a forgotten move. I don't want to necessarily say a forgotten player, but a forgotten move that happened in regards to this player. So not a whole lot to get to. Again, it's kind of dying down in regards to what's happening out there. Yesterday, they didn't do too much out at practice, and we're about to hit that dead period. So, you know how that goes. But we'll figure it out. We'll get through that whole situation. But nonetheless, we'll have another good show here live from Hattie B's Hot Chicken. And again, as I said at the top of this whole thing, we'll be giving away a signed hat, which is on this side, and a signed football, which is on that side, from Tyler Smith. And here's the way to enter. This is the last day to enter. Create a Hattie B's Rewards account on their website. The link is in the description, HattieB's.com. Download the app, or you can do it that way as well. Redeem your free $10 gift card, and then like the post on Instagram or Facebook, wherever you are, and comment DC4L. That's it. Simple. And you will enter your chance to get a free hat and football signed by one Tyler Smith. What's good, though, Bomb Squad?
Bomb Squad!
How y'all doing on this beautiful Friday, man? It's Friday. You ain't got no job. Maybe you do got a job. Maybe you're sitting there at your desk and you're listening. Well, we're going to try to make sure that we give you a pretty good quality show here, man. Who's all in the building? Let's see. Y'all been here fast. Do's in the building. Swain, TC915, Miss Sheila. Jay in the building. Jameson, I see you. CJ, Rolo. Bill over on Facebook. How you doing, Bill? B47, what's good, Vic? Professor O in the building. And we got Tacoma John dropping a super chat already. Come on now. You love to see it.
Super chat.
He said, just wanted to say happy Friday still. Thanks for the work you put in. Let's effing go, Cowboys. Thank you, Tacoma. And I put in a ton of work. That's without a doubt. But I wouldn't do that if you guys wouldn't continue to come back. So thank you for your support and coming on back and being part of the Bomb Squad.
Bomb Squad!
All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to jump straight into the roundup. And out of that, we'll talk a little bit about, honestly, my hot take. And I want to hear from y'all. 351-999-3787. It is Fan Friday. It is our Fan Friday giveaway. So, Fridays, I try to make it about y'all for the most part, especially during this downtime. So if you want to call in, you absolutely can. The phone lines are open and working. We pay the bills. All right? So let's get into this thing, Cowboys Nation.
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Hey, yo. Again, not a whole lot came out of minicamp yesterday. In fact, the Cowboys elected to shorten their minicamp, and I think we actually cautioned you guys about this yesterday. We said, this is right up Mike McCarthy's alley. He likes to kind of work these guys hard and then give them a little bit of easier way out when it comes to these type of breaks. And given that he's been fine his first 2 or 3 years as a coach here in mini camps and OTAs, he dialed it back some. But you can tell the players are ready and roaring at it to get going and get really physical at camp and real competition. Nonetheless, CeeDee Lamb sat out whatever it was they did yesterday. It was a 45-minute kind of jog through practice. He sat out, but there is no concerns when it comes to that. Mike McCarthy did come out and say, quote, "I have no major injury concerns for anyone. The state of our practice structure is a part of that. There's nobody we're worried about right now." We talked about this yesterday with our guy, Pat O.C. Walker from DallasCowboys.com. We said, look, knock on wood, obviously, but we're already ahead of the turn from last season where we came out of this OTAs and mini camps, and there was a lot of guys banged up. Obviously, you drafted some banged up guys in Damone Clark. Tolbert had to miss a lot of action, and then you had the foot situation with James Washington. There's really no one they're overly concerned about here, and everybody will or should be ready to go for training camp. The only one that they don't know yet is a previous injury, and that's Terrence Steele. That's something they got to see what happens once they get down to camp. But this is great news. You love to hear it. And shout out to the players. They didn't even suit up in their shells and their jerseys. They were wearing Allen Strong shirts in support of the Allen shooting victims, where whoever buys a shirt, and obviously the Cowboys are supporting, all the proceeds go to the victims' families. So the Cowboys players and organizations, they're always supporting the local happenings around here. So prayers continue to go out to the Allen shooting victim families, which was a sad situation. But it was a very, very light practice yesterday, so not a whole lot really going on when it comes to that. Isaac Aracon. Remember, he moved to defensive tackle, and not a lot of people were really talking about it. And me included. I'm going to say I am included in this. I kind of looked at that as, oh, congratulations, new position. We'll see you with the Jags next year or something like that. But in all seriousness, like always, as a Cowboy fan, you're rooting for all these players to have success on your team. Do I expect Isaac Aracon to do anything at the position? No, I don't. But I would love to be pleasantly surprised if he did anything at defensive tackle. But McCarthy was asked about his transition, and this is what he said, quote, "He looks good inside. I'm excited to see him in padded work. It almost looks more natural for him on defense. He's built an outstanding foundation, and those are the baby steps you want to hear, right? We're not looking for Isaac to go in there and turn into Leroy Glover. We're not. We're looking for him to go in there and continue to build on his foundation, and maybe you get it was an F.A. Obata type situation, right, where the kid was new to football, especially American football. It came to the Cowboys. I think he was on the practice squad or something like that, and didn't work out here in Dallas, but he went on to, I want to say, Carolina, and he had a solid run there, and I think he's still in the league. The Cowboys, I think, played him last year. So, maybe this turns into an F.A. Obata type situation. You would love for it to be here in Dallas, but he's got an uphill battle to climb in that room. And at some point, we will get around to our State of the Union defensive tackle position, but maybe we can give a slight preview today about it. And that'll center around my hot take here. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with one Isaac Aragón. That's our morning roundup, Cowboys Nation. Not a whole lot, like I said, to really get into. But I'm going to keep my eye on the whole Isaac thing. But the good news is nobody is getting hurt out there at minicamp or out there at OTAs in the sense of we got to be overly concerned about it. Now, the Isaac thing does lead me into, in a way, my hot take. But before the hot take, what I believe is the most underrated thing to come out of minicamp. I touched on it yesterday. I've been saying this for a long time. But Jonathan Hankins returning and Jonathan Hankins being here with Mazi Smith, I think is such an underrated thing. And me and Marv kind of joked about, not even say joked, but we were just keying and he-heing about this before. And I really truly do believe this. Mazi Smith and Jonathan Hankins on the field at the same time, to me, I think is a legitimate thing. And I think you'll see them together more often than not. Like, I'm not saying these guys are going – maybe they will. Who knows? Maybe they will be the starters. I'm not saying you're going to see Mazi and them out there 75% of the time. But Mazi and Jonathan Hankins were out there together the past couple of days at minicamp. And I just truly do believe that Dan Quinn, once these pads come on, and once he sees these two boys working together, it's going to be hard not to have them out there, especially if you want to be one of them ones. You can't be one of them ones unless you force opponents to throw the ball on you because you're just too damn good on that front line. As many interceptions as we get, turnovers, all that stuff is fine and dandy. But if you want to be one of them ones, you have to make guys one-dimensional because you force them to be one-dimensional defensively. Yeah, you can force them the other way. We always talk about it. Hey, if you score a lot of points, opponents won't run the ball, they have to throw. That's one way. But if you do it this way, you're stealing another team's will. You're taking their confidence from them. You're putting them in a box that you excel at. You're one of the best pass rushing teams in the league. So if you force them into doing that defensively, man, that's a whole nother level. That's a whole nother level. Talked about it a whole lot, man. These boys have the ability to be the modern day Pat and Kevin Williams. I'm going to keep hammering this thing home. I am. Probably until week one when these guys are out there and they're proving to the league that this duo is a nasty duo. Now, here's the issue. Jonathan Hankins, 31 years old. So he's getting up there in age, but I watched Pat play, till he got up there. Haloti Naha, those type guys. I watched these kind of one-tech type dudes play till they got up there because they're really not relied on to be pass rushy dudes. Mazi can be, though, but that, he's going to go out there. He's going to have to go out there and prove. I know a lot of people doubt that he can be a pass rush guy, but I do think he can affect the passer. It may not be in a Osa Odigizua or Aaron Donald type way, but I do think he'll be able to go out there and affect the passer. Now, the other day, Hank got a chance to sit down with Pat Watkins. He got a chance to sit down with Pat Walker, and we'll play the audio from that here in a second, but I do want to bring up, my bad, that's not where we want to go. I do want to bring up a quote from that article where Pat sat down with him, and then we'll listen to Pat actually talk about some of the things that weren't in the article. But he said, quote, every guy in that room, doesn't matter who gets to shine, we feed off one another. It just feels good. It's nice to be around a team like this that's orchestrated well, and you don't get that many opportunities, especially for me. I'm in my 11th season, and I've only been to the playoffs twice. Damn, Hank. This team for years to come, this is the one that got me fired up, it's going to be something. I see this defense getting even scarier for offensive guys. And I think he sees what I'm seeing here as well. What a lot of us are seeing here. Think about how confident you were, Cowboys Nation, in this defense last year coming into the season. Yes, we questioned maybe a little bit about the interior. Maybe we questioned the outside. We really questioned it once the season got here and we saw what was happening. But nonetheless, your defense was still killing it. It was killing it without Stephon Gilmore. It was killing it without Jonathan Hankins. It was killing it without Mozzie Smith. It's killing it without Damone Clark having a full offseason, and now he's your guy, not Anthony Barr, It was killing it in a second-year Michael. He sees what's happening coaching-wise, schematic-wise, personnel-wise on this defense. He knows that he has the possibility to help them become one of them ones. And that's why I'm so confident, so arrogant about this defense, because of what it is heading into the season now compared to what it was in previous years. But let's take a listen to Pat describing his sit down with Jonathan Hankins.
Go into a little detail on what Hankins was talking about in regards to Mozzie Smith and himself playing together.
Well, first of all, Hankins, his smile just ear to ear the entire time. And a lot of these interviews, when you're talking to these players, they'll use the word excited. I'm excited for this and I'm thrilled for this. And but when I say it was just emanating, it was just pouring out of Hankins the whole time I was speaking to him, to the point where a couple of times he just stopped and kind of laughed at himself because he couldn't stop smiling. I asked him about how it feels to have a full offseason with Dan Quinn. Remember, he came in just ahead of the trade deadline. So this is his first full offseason. And he was basically saying that, Dan Quinn is as advertised and he loves playing for Dan Quinn. And then he kind of started talking about the defensive line and just how close-knit that room is. And then, of course, I asked him about his early impressions on Mozzie Smith. And he said that he's very, very, very excited to play alongside Mozzie. And he paused and laughed even harder. He said, I know this is coming from a Buckeye. He said, but he was he basically clapped when he saw Mozzie Smith taken with the first round pick. And because he said that he sees greatness in Mozzie Smith. He said Mozzie Smith he enters the room as one of the strongest players on the entire Cowboys roster. This is Jonathan Hankins saying this. Yeah, this is Jonathan Hankins saying this. And he said it with a look on his face like, I don't think you understand. And I'm like, maybe I don't, but we're about to find out. But he's elated to play with Mozzie Smith and to play alongside Mozzie Smith in those packages like I'm talking about, like I spoke about a few minutes ago. And then Hankins just went on to just rave about how not only close-knit the defensive line room is and the defense as a whole is, but he said that defensive line room is, quote unquote, we're some bad MFers, end quote. And I asked him straight up, I said, well, this defense and this pass rush was one of the best in the league last year. I mean, it was top 2, and at times it wasn't number 2.
Right.
So I said, where does this go from here, knowing that, you're healthy and you're in the building for the entire year. Mozzie Smith is in the building. Also, Diggy Zua coming off a breakout year. You can go down the list on and on and on. And basically, he said, we're going to pick up right where we left off. Only this time it's going to be scarier for offenses. So scarier is nice. I like scary hours for opposing offenses. Yeah, this Cowboys defense is and if you look at it, there's no reason there should be a fall off. They were able to retain LVE, able to retain Dono. You bring in some new pieces like Mozzie Smith, DeMarvion Overshawn. Jabril Cox is trending in the right direction right now. Damone Clark did not have a full offseason of preparation last year as a rookie because he was recovering from that.
Oh, I ain't really mean to press that button there, but we good to go. Y'all get the gist of how excited he is about playing with not only Mozzie Smith, but Dan Quinn in year 2 and playing with the other guys around him. But I was looking in the chat, and that's what kind of got me kind of off my kilter here. And I see Big Bo's name popping up here. DP brought him up and says he's developing about what you probably expect. I agree. I think there was some pushback from some fans about Bohanna, but he's He's a 6th-round one tech. I wasn't ever expecting Bohannon to come in here and be Jonathan Hankins. I was expecting him to be a rotational one tech, and that's what he was. The situation that happened last year was he actually played better than Neville Gallimore, and that was probably unexpected. And he showed a little bit of versatility, but maybe now with Mozzie here, he can focus back in on being just kind of that one tech that gobbles up defenders and keeps guys clean, because he said that's what he wanted to do. But Bohannon, yeah, you could argue Bohannon and Neville could be on the same, hey, we're fighting to get on this roster, but I think it's two totally different things. I think Neville is because he's been a disappointment. I think Bo would be fighting just because of his pedigree of where he was drafted in the position he plays, and now you got the veteran Hank and the first-round pick in Mozzie, and you got the 3 techs in between. He's going to be fighting because it's just naturally how that developed, whereas Neville's been a disappointment, if we're being completely honest, as a 3rd-round pick. But I will say this. They had Quentin Bohanna, Mozzie Smith, and Jonathan Hankins on the goal line, boy. Let me. Hey, look. We can say what you want to say about Bo. I don't really care. He's still 6'5", 340 pounds. Then you got 6'5", 340-pound Hank. Then you got 6'3", 330-pound Mozzie, who was strong as an ox. And you put that in the middle on the 1-yard line, on the 4-yard line, or whatever. I mean, good luck pushing that unit. In all seriousness, all jokes aside, good luck on your tush, push, cush, whatever they call it over there in Philly. Good luck pushing those guys. Yeah, you can push Carlos Watkins. You can push Osa Digizua. You can push Neville Gallimore. These guys run sub 300, about maybe 305. You're not pushing 340, 340, and 330 all at the same damn time off the line of scrimmage. It's not happening. Not consistently. And I'm going to continue to go back to that Eagles game because that was the game that I think the coaching staff came out and said, we have to do something about the middle of this defense. They ran the ball 12 straight times. It wasn't like they was popping off 15-yard runs. They were getting 2, 3, 4 yards at a time. Not a whole lot. But that's all they needed to keep the chains moving and ice out that game. I don't think that's going to happen if you have a healthy rotation of Mozzie and Jonathan Hankins. And hey, maybe Bohanna. We'll see, because he really wasn't active in that second playoff game. But look, bro, Cowboys interior I think is completely different coming into the season. And because of that, here's my hot take. With Mozzie Smith, with Jonathan Hankins, I think the Cowboys will finish top 5, not in yards, not in rush yards. Dallas, they've been there for different reasons. But the most important one, top 5 in yards per carry in the entire National Football League. And we'll put some numbers behind that here in a quick second, but I'll let y'all kind of, think about that. So my Hattie B's hot take, obviously, is presented by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, where no conversation about the best Nashville-style hot chicken is complete without a serious mention of Hattie B's. And they have the new location, as you guys can see here, down in deep Elm. Make sure you guys come down here, check it out. And if you want to get your delivery delivered to you, or you want to get a pickup, you can go to HattieB's.com. All types of different flavors. Y'all know about the hot, the medium, the shut the cluck up. All types of different ones I think you will enjoy. So come on down or hit them up at HattieB's.com. Use the link in the description. By the way, if you do that, you qualify for this giveaway we have going on here for a Tyler Smith signed football and hat. So back to my hot take. Cowboys will finish top 5 in yards per carry in 2023. Well, Sky, that's not crazy. Oh, it ain't? Go take a look at their history. Over the last 10 seasons, they've only finished in the top 5 once. One time, 2018, where we kind of got duped. How ironic, right? The one time they finished in the top 5 in yards per carry was the same year they got ran on in the playoffs for like 300 yards. Odd. But it felt a little bit like a mirage that season. But statistically, they finished in the top 5. Outside of that, they've only finished in the top 10 one other time. And over the last 10 seasons, the last decade, their average finish in yards per carry has been 18th. it's been something that the Cowboys fans, Cowboys Nation, we've been talking about for a long time, is the Cowboys have never really been a consistently good or reliable run defense. They have not. And I think that's why you get Dan Quinn here. Dan Quinn didn't start the whole movement just quite yet until he realized what I needed. And I think Hank's play is I don't want to say solely, but Jonathan Hankins' play and production when he was on this team and not hurt was a huge reason why you saw a guy like Mozzie Smith's value raise in that war room, raise on that defensive side of the ball, and probably to a Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones, and obviously Will McClay. But now you got Mozzie, you got Hank. We'll see what happens with Bohanna, but you got these two studs, the dudes who I say can be the next Pat and Kevin Williams type of situation. I think that will end up parlaying into the Cowboys being one of the best defenses against the run in regards to yards per carry. Total yards, the Cowboys have been there. We've seen it. The Cowboys play keep away ball, and they'll finish in 5th or 3rd overall in yards per game. But then you go look at yards per carry, and they're middle of the pack or low, right? That's why I wanted to use yards per carry, because if teams are only averaging 3 yards per carry, 2.9 yards per carry, you are essentially shutting them out via defensively, not because you're keeping the ball away, not playing keep away. And I think they have the ability to shut guys down because of their personnel, not because they want to play keep away. So that is my hot take today. How y'all feeling about that? You think the Cowboys are going to fit? And I think it's a hot take. I don't think this is something that you can be like, oh, well, this is easy to see. How? Over the last decade, the Cowboys have been ranking about 18th, the average of 18th in yards per carry. So this is different. If they were to stay in the top 10, this would be different, man. This would be different. Tino says that would change this year. Having Hank at the beginning is already a game changer. I 100% agree, Tony. 100% agree. Hey, Chandra. Ray's watermelon smoothies. And they paying that brand. If they get rid of Bo, they should trade him, not just cut him, says Gregory. I'm down with that. You know, I'm always trying to get back, some type of compensation if I can. Is that take too hot for y'all? Is kind of what I'm getting at here. Let's see if it's too hot for 325. Who we got on the line? What's good, 325? Let me get you pulled up here.
Hello?
325, you live. What's up?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Hey, name's Sambino, man.
What's good, Sambino? The great
Hey, I
Sambino.
got a question about the line. Let's say let's go ends up working out at tackle because he's been getting good reports, right?
Say again. I heard let's
So
go.
what does that mean for the guard position?
Can you repeat that,
So
sir?
do we still keep Tyler at guard, or do we switch him to tackle, even though Willetsko's been doing reportedly well?
Hello? Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you run that question back for me?
I was saying that let's say Willetsko works out at the left tackle because he's been getting good reports, right?
At right tackle, yeah. He's been doing right tackle things and left guard things, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just wondering. Oh, well, I guess that cancels my question about the positioning. Anyway, I appreciate all y'all do, man.
All right, Sambino, appreciate you, man. Well, he brought up Willetsko, so I'll stay there. Matt Willetsko, look, we talked about him briefly over the last few days. He may fall into that category. It depends how well he's playing, but the swing tackle to me for years has always been one of the most important positions on this team because we rely on Tyron Smith. If we're going to rely on Tyron Smith again, you could argue it is once again one of the most important positions. But now you got Tyler, so maybe that left guard depth becomes the most important. But anyway, if Matt Willetsko can show that some improvement, if Matt Willetsko can show that he's a reliable swing, that definitely gives you some ease in regards to your depth at the tackle position. I think a lot of people have more question marks on the interior line in regards to depth and tackle because technically Tyler, Terrence, and Tyron are all tackles. That's 3 quality tackles that you can line up, go out there, play, and trust. However, if they're all playing at the same time, you could run into some trouble. But it's the interior. And honestly, that's the position I'm going to be focused on a lot when it comes to the offensive line at camp. Obviously, I'll be watching Willetsko. I'll be watching Awesome if he's going to play tackle. Who knows? I'll be watching Bostic and all those guys. But it's the TJ Basses. It's the almost said Willetsko. It's the Forniaks. I want to see how he's progressing if he's going to play left guard because y'all know me. I did not like his left guard tape last year. I thought it was atrocious. But what about center? What if he can develop into a serviceable center, or if he continues to develop at left guard, he becomes a serviceable swing guy. One of the themes coming out of minicamp and OTAs that we hear it all the time actually, not just this year, is position flex. The way the league is going with the rosters and whatnot, the Cowboys want to be in the forefront of position flex. They want to have guys that they can carry that can do multiple things so you can go longer on game day. And let's go Forniak. We got a lot of strange names up there. If Forniak can show that he can be versatile in the sense of I can be the backup center and I can be the swing guard, now that's 3 positions in one. Kind of what McGovern did for you, but he was the starter. So keep an eye on that. Dallas Cowboys hard hitter drop 5 in the
Super chat.
Said if Tolbert and Simi can excel this season, the Cowboys are going to be a problem because speed kills. Man, that will just extend the depth at wide receiver. And Simi, and it's really hard because Tolbert's a 3rd-round pick. You're rooting for Tolbert, but it was probably right after they announced that Kellen Moore was gone and McCarthy was going to be calling plays and we got Schotty. I said, man, Simi Fehoko. It was months ago. I'm like, that's the guy that I think could really benefit from this thing because he's been around for a few years. He has the physical tools, but Simi Fehoko, now you're hearing about Simi Fehoko taking those steps. You're hearing even Tolbert, taking those steps as well. But I can't wait for camp, man. I just feel like Simi could do some things. And shout out to Jess from Girl Talk, Boys Talk. Shout out to that whole, the whole program. They've knocked down doors, by the way. But shout out to Jess, though, because she brought this up on the show. It was clipped by, and I'm not saying this is their name, Bitches Love Sports. Shout out to her. Shout out to them, too. But she brought up a nugget that I'm surprised nobody is running with in regards to an article. But remember how I think it was last week, I said if Simi and Tolbert can take a Ced Wilson type of jump, that changes the dynamics from the depth-wise at the wide receiver position. Well, Jess said she got a chance to talk to Dak Prescott, and Dak said Simi's progression reminds him of Cedric Wilson. Now, I'm not saying he's going to go out there and have a Ced Wilson season because what happened that year was injuries. Injuries is the reason why Ced's 3rd full season, 3rd real season, he actually was drafted, didn't play rookie year, but his 3rd playing season, he went crazy for a 4th, 5th type guy because you had the injury to Michael Gallup. But I think he can take that jump in regards to trust. I think he can take that jump in regards to his IQ, the mental part of his game, and just being better in general. I do. I think Simi Fehoko can be the Ced or maybe the year 7 Noah. It took Noah forever. But the Ced Wilson, man, I do. Him or Tolbert. I think one of those guys can make that jump in this offense for sure. For sure. I mean, that's fair. I mean, everybody got their guys. Chris said I take Tolbert and Cropper over Simi. Simi might be cut. I mean, Cropper might be cut. But, people have their guys. We haven't seen Cropper yet. Like I want Cropper to do well as well. From a physical standpoint, he's more physically gifted. Simi Fehoko, that is. Cropper has a specialty in regards, I think, as a route runner. Tolbert, I don't know how. Look, if that's your guy, that's your guy. But I take Tolbert. I wouldn't take Tolbert right now. I would take Simi right now because I've seen Simi have success in preseason and success in the regular season. I haven't seen Tolbert do anything in practice or preseason just yet. It's all conjecture. It's all wait and see, I think, with Tolbert. We've seen it with Semi. Semi just got hurt and didn't get the chance. I don't know if it was politics or whatnot in the regular season. But I just got to see it with Tolbert before. If I had to rank them, to me, it's definitely Semi and then Tolbert. I would love for my third-round pick to jump him, though. 100% would love for that to happen. But that's what camp is for. It's going to be a battle. And I don't think Semi's going down. Because if y'all remember last year, how many times me and Vach kept coming on here and was like, oh, yeah, Semi Fehoko's been the second best receiver. Semi Noah. Then Noah will do something. Coming back another day. Hey, man, Semi Fehoko. I don't know what's up with this Dennis Houston. Everybody getting excited about Dennis Houston. He ain't really doing nothing to me. But Semi Fehoko looks like he's doing something with every single one of those quarterbacks. What was going on with Jalen Tolbert? I don't really want to down talk my third-round pick his rookie year, but that's not talk about Jalen. Jalen ain't ready yet. And then what happens in the regular season, Jalen wasn't ready yet. But I'm excited for these young guys. I am. But, yeah, I think if you had to ask right now, and obviously Dak Prescott said that Semi is having that type of jump. So that's wonderful. You love to hear it. You love to hear it. I agree, DP. I think that's what it's going to come to. I think Semi and Tolbert will be your 4 and 5. I agree. I think they'll be your 4 and 5. And then your 6 would be what, Turpin? It's going to be tough, man, for the Croppers and the David Durdens and those guys. It's going to be tough. They're going to have to ball out so hard that they're willing to cut another position short to go long at receiver. I would like for that to happen. I would. But it's going to be really, really tough for those guys to make it because it's right. And that's what you love. You want any of these undrafted, bottom roster, Jalen Brooks type dudes, you want it to be so hard to get on this team. You don't want it to be easy. You don't want Dennis Houston to happen again, where it was just like, hey, man, Dennis Houston, he ran her out and caught the ball. Welcome to the 53. Like, nah, man, I need you to go nuclear in training camp. Need you to go nuclear. Before we get to some of these coaches' quotes, let's get one more call in here from 808 Heartbreak. What's goody?
How you doing, brother?
What's up, man?
Hey, man, this is Sonny from Hawaii, man. Happy Aloha Friday, man.
Aloha. What's up, Sonny?
Hey, what you call it, man? I'm just thinking about you got the D-line conversation going, and I was going to speak on that, but then when you brought up Simi, I keep on thinking about it, man. Every time I hear about Simi and camp and everything, bro, Simi, you brought up, what's his name, the guy who went to Jacksonville from us?
You mean Sed Wilson?
Yeah, Sed Wilson.
Sed went to Miami. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that.
That's all good.
But, yeah, no, honestly, when I think of Simi and how he can surprise the world, he reminds me of a Miles Austin type, like what he can do and surprise the league. And then everybody going, because we know him very well.
Austin jump, Sonny. Oh, my goodness.
That's why I'm saying we know him well. But watch the rest of the league. Simi has a chance to go off and stuff. Everybody going to be looking at us like, where'd this kid come from? That's what I think he has the potential to do. I think he's that good.
Yeah, and
well, obviously, to the field. You got to.
I would urge him. You know what? I'm gonna try to pull this up. It's Friday. We ain't doing nothing else, as my guy Vach would say. Let me see if I can pull this clip up. I'd urge y'all to go watch this clip, man. Let me see here. Of Jess talking about Simi and what she's been seeing, and not just her. I think it was also Aisha Morrison who talked about it as well. And they talked about Dak Prescott and just the growth and the confidence, and he just looks, I don't want to use the word different, but more advanced this year. And it kind of got me excited because you start to hear about the kind of little details and nuances of the player and not just speculation of, size, speed, measurements, and things like that. You see that there is real growth in that player, and there's growth in that player, and you combine it with his physical tools, it can be good for the room. Sonny, you there?
Oh, yeah. No, I thought you was going to play the clip. My bad.
Oh, no, I can't. You won't be able to hear it. I'll probably play it when you get off if I can find it. Here it go.
Oh, okay. Which call? Yeah, no, that's all I'm really excited about is stuff, receiver room, especially with the, I'll change it to D-line real quick, man.
Sure.
Hey, I held out hope for Neville Gallimore, man. I love that guy when he came as an addition to our team, man. But this is gonna be competition coming into this camp, man. You guys, new guys coming in, Pejoko them, Quinton. He's gonna get a chance to put in some work. But oh my gosh, y'all thought the Eagles line was good last year? Watch what we do this year, man. With that, nobody running on us. I'm telling you. With Big Hank too, with the off season, I've heard some rumors about him with the Raiders. But with his comments saying he's excited for this year, I think he thinks it's going to be his chance to win the Super Bowl. I think that's going to change his work ethic, man.
I'm glad you brought up Philly because I do want to kind of say something about that, man. But hey, fantastic call, Sonny. I appreciate you calling in all the way from Hawaii.
Yeah, God bless, brother. You have a good day.
Salute. He brought up Philly, and when I was thinking about how many big guys they want to carry or whatnot, I think about what Philly did. You know, Philly went out and they got Ndamukong Suh and they got Linval Joseph to go along with the Fletcher Cox, to go along with Jordan Davis, you know, Milton Williams. They loaded up, you know, and I'm not saying Big Bo was any of those guys, but just thinking about it, I'm like, if he has another camp like he had last year in preseason, I'm not trying to let go of Big Bo just because of numbers. Like, I'm actually trying to keep that middle of the defense. So anytime one of those guys go out, there's always a big boy in there in regards to run defense. Anytime somebody gets hurt, there's a big boy in there to help you keep guys clean. So if he has a good camp again and a good preseason, you don't cut bait with Bohanna. You just don't. Actually, I would cut Neville Gallimore before I cut Bohanna. In fact, man, I'm greedy. Go get me more big boys to bring in this damn room, man, because that's what Philly did. And that's how they were able to kind of, you know, ease that pain a little bit of losing some of their guys last year in regards to Jordan Davis. I think he went down, but when he was playing, man, he was definitely helping that run defense. But I think I got let me see. Yeah, I got this pulled up. We chilling this Friday. Let me go ahead and run this clip if y'all don't mind. It's about 2.5 minutes or what have you. Let me see here. Bada boom, bada bing. Did y'all hear Mike McCarthy do that? Bada boom, bada bing. Yo, Mike McCarthy the best. He the best presser since Bill Parcells. I don't care what nobody say. The volume's up. Hold up. Y'all can't see that. Y'all can't hear that. Bing. There we go.
Him and I spent time during media days together. We were talking a lot more, and I told him, you know, it's interesting seeing your progression with Dak because you've worked in the Dak yard this offseason. He said, yeah, it's paying off. I feel this new confidence. So I asked Dak about Semi. And when Dak talked to me about Semi, he said he's on the same kind of progression that I saw from Cedric Wilson, which what a throwback when you think about it. You pull up Cedric Wilson's stats. His year 3 jump was huge, and he became that clutch guy for Dak to where he took the jump that Semi is looking to take. So to hear that comparison from Dak was amazing. I mean, Cedric, his final season with the Cowboys, had 5 touchdowns that season. He had over 600 yards that season as well. And I'm not saying that's what Semi's going to have, right? I'm not saying that by any means. But what I am saying is that coming from Dak, making that comparison of the track that Semi's on is somebody that I really think Cowboys Nation should keep a closer eye on because Semi is making that jump. He's making the connection. He's making that cadence with his quarterback one, and it is absolutely showing.
Yeah, and to your point, just to add on to talking to Semi and getting some information from him, he also really is open to working on that Noah Brown spot because
he did bring up Noah Brown.
Noah Brown was very important to what they did on special teams, but also what they did offensively. So that also gives you some insight on like kind of what his vision is for what he thinks he's going to be able to
put a pause there because that is actually a very important thing. He brought up the whole Noah Brown role with Kevin Gray, but we got to remember in that room, you're going to have to play special teams. Semi has the body type, the physical ability to play special teams. So if he can take on that mentality of it, that's another plus for him to make this roster.
So those are 2 gentlemen that were important to what the Cowboys did offensively, just kind of on the hush, like maybe you didn't talk about them all the time, but they were intricate to what they did. So great insight from you, girl.
Something about Cedric Wilson that Dak pointed out was he was the guy that came from behind and took the spot that nobody expected to take that year 3 jump, right? And so you look at Semi and the progression that he's had, given the injury history there as well, is what's kind of kept him off the field. But you look at where he's at now and what he's doing, the work he's putting in, the initiative
Who the
he's
hell said
taking
that?
to take that wide receiver 4 spot. And I'm not
Hey,
saying
Alpha Mason, go
other
to
guys
hell.
aren't, right? I'm not discrediting the other guys' work. I'm just saying the conversation was specifically about Semi,
call
but
each other twin, but
he's the guy that could very well have potential to come in from behind, take that spot,
Agreed.
and you're not keeping an eye on him because he's not the name that's being tossed around so often. So something I wanted to throw out there that I thought was a really, really good conversation with.
I agree, Jess. That is spot on. Well done, girls, by the way. But shut up. Stop that. There we go. Alpha Mason, you ain't saying. But yeah, I agree. I think he's, and I've been saying this for months, just keep an eye on Semi, man. You know, as long as he don't get hurt, I feel like he has a chance to supplant himself as wide receiver 4 on this roster. But man, him and Jalen, if they can take that step, your wide receiver room goes back to be. It already, I think, is a top 5 room. Remember, we were used to be a top 5 room with, you know, Lamb and Gallup healthy and Amari Cooper. Then that one season they let go Coop, try to replace him with a bunch of dudes. Didn't work out. Now I think the Cowboys are back to having one of the best rooms. But what made it really, really good in 2021 was having that depth and knowing you could count on a guy like Cedric Wilson. There was some tweets I wanted to get to in regards to the coaches, but honestly, man, excuse me. You know what? No, I do want to get to this tweet because we are talking about Jalen Tolbert. We are talking about the wide receivers. And Brian Schottenheimer, who's only spoke once, he had a lot to say about Brandon Cooks. And I know y'all probably get tired of me talking about veterans, the importance of it and whatnot. I just think it's so important. We saw the lack of the veteran leadership and accountability on the roster last year at the position. But Brian Schottenheimer, who spoke about Jalen Tolbert and who spoke about Brandon Cooks, he had this to say, and he actually draws back to Drew Brees. There's a whole lot here, but I'll read it out loud for those who are just listening. This is Schottenheimer on Brandon Cooks. I don't know if the video is out yet. I don't think the Cowboys released it, but John Machota dropped this quote. Shout out to John. He says, quote, Jalen Tolbert had an incredible camp. If you talk to Jalen, what he's going to tell you is he spent a ton of time with Brandon. Here's a guy who's been there, done that, and he wants to encourage and invest in the younger guys. Those guys spend a lot of time together. What Brandon brings us is way more than just speed. I agree. It's really fun to watch him run. But what I love about him is his competitor, is he is the competitor and the way he's encouraging the entire room of receivers. It's been awesome. Drew Brees, who they're close with, he said, I'm very close. When we made the move to get Brandon, the very first text I got was from Drew. He was like, you're going to love this guy. And Drew is a hard guy to give a lot of positive reinforcement. So, you know, you kind of got to read between the lines when it comes to praise, right? Everybody has been praising Brandon Cooks. Everybody has been praising Brandon Cooks' speed. But to me, it's really not his ability. His ability speaks for itself. For anybody doubting him, just go watch him play, pop on the film. It's what he can provide to these young guys. Even more so than Amari Cooper, y'all. And I'm not about to shit on Amari Cooper. Just hear me out. When Amari Cooper got here, Amari was in year 4? Very similar a little bit to Lamb, where Coop had initial success early, got to Dallas, kind of felt like the man. You know, I love Amari's arrogance because he was well-deserved. He was like that. But I wouldn't really look at Amari as kind of that leader just quite yet when he first got here. He might have been that dude in the locker room, but the leadership is different. Eventually, he kind of grew into that role by the time that Lamb got here, and it was kind of do as I do, not as I say. You know, I'm teaching you via how I'm playing. We're out here in the practice field, and that's that. We cool, but Coop really wasn't this 10-year established veteran that's been to the Super Bowl, that's been, you know, as established as a Brandon Cooks. So I think their additions, while they'll have the same impact on the field, I do think the impact that Amari had will mirror what I think Cooks will have. I think the impact off will be different. I think Brandon Cooks being around multiple Hall of Fame quarterbacks, multiple systems, being to the Super Bowl, you know, these type of things will have a greater impact off the field than Amari did. Again, not trying to shit on Amari Cooper. It's just that it is what it is with him. He came from Oakland, you know. He came with question marks, answered a lot of them, but wasn't the established guy in the same way, in the resume-wise, as a Brandon Cook. So you constantly hear this. Jalen Tolbert, you hear talking about it. Dak Prescott, C.D. Lamb, almost said Marty. I'm probably going to call this dude Marty all year. Brian Schottenheimer, Mike McCarthy. Everyone is praising him in the locker room and off the field. I think those little things will add up for this room, man. I agree, Andrew. He wasn't a rah-rah guy. And I don't even know that Cooks is a rah-rah guy. It's just that I feel like Cooks just naturally has this natural giving trait, this natural leadership trait. I mean, you could be a leader in a way of rah-rah and still not be giving. But when you hear Schottenheimer say that he's willing to give back to these young guys, that's major, man. I think it's going to help this entire room for sure. Schotty also talked about the Texas Coast offense. And this is what he had. Did we get that right? Texas Coast offense. And this is what he had to say. Where we at here? Quote, I've said it and I do believe it. It wasn't broke. What they've done here over the last 5, 6, 7 years has been really good since Dak came into the league. We wanted to keep a lot of that in place. That's what our players know. We're a veteran, strong offense that has added some really cool pieces. We were very selective about the changes we've made. We try to protect some of the language, the things Dak has used for a long time, but we certainly added some wrinkles. So he said not to put a number on it, but we're somewhere in that 70%-ish. We've certainly added some flavor. So 70%, same number we heard Dak talk about, only about 30% of the offense change. McCarthy said 35% of the offense change. The whole language thing, all that makes sense. You don't want to go too crazy in regards to changing your offense when a lot of things work. I don't want, though, 30% to feel like that's little. That's still a good bit, man. And if they're also tweaking some of the things that work by, they're keeping things, but they're tweaking them, you could technically add more to that percentage. So I don't believe this is going to be the same offense. I just don't. I think you're going to see that 30, 35, 40% change, I think is going to be a significant percentage to see. I think you will see a change in this offense. And maybe it won't be from personnel, because I do like how they did some of their personnel things. I love the whole 3-by-1 start, motion CD over, and now you got, at one point it was Dalton Schultz clearing out. I did like some of those things they did pre-snap. They just didn't do them enough. But maybe the change comes with the slight wrinkles. Maybe instead of we're doing mirror routes, instead of, all curls, instead of this or that, it's a stick route. It's more daggers. It's more things that, hey, you're going to run here. This is what you're doing. I don't have to guess what you're doing. And if it's not there, check down, touchdown type situation. So maybe those are the things that we'll see that are tweaked. But I think 30 to 35% is significant, especially given what we know the offense was the last 4 years. I don't want to scoff at that at all. I want to get to these DQ ones, but maybe I'll save them for next week. We're about to go on a break. We need them all. Yeah, I'm going to save them for next week. And it's funny because Dan Quinn is on the thumbnail. Let's get my guy Glenn. I always love to hear from Glenn, man, when he calls in. What's up, Glenn?
Hey, what's up, Sky? Happy Friday to you. Great show as usual.
Thank you, man.
So I just got one question on offense and one question on defense. So I'll start with defense first. Totally agree. The addition of Mazi Smith, I think, is going to be so crucial to what the Cowboys need to do to fix this. I don't want to say fix this defense, but yeah, I'll just say it, to fix this defense, at least what I think may be the final chess piece on the board. The RPO game, when I looked at the Cowboys last year, it just kind of felt like that RPO scheme killed us. And typically what happens is I think we've seen the play over and over again.
Let me tell you this, Glenn.
Go ahead.
It's killed the league, honestly. For real.
Yeah.
How many teams are like really stopping the RPO all the time? Not many.
No, without a doubt. No, it's very difficult to stop, but I think we've identified at least what I think will really, really slow it down. And just kind of follow me here.
Gotcha.
I think typically when teams beat us to the outside, I think maybe it's every team in the NFL, but I think a lot of our outside defenders got caught looking inside, right? Because when you see a guy running up the middle, you really don't know if he has the ball or not. And so when you think that middle is getting torn up, you're going to get sucked in and you're going to pinch whatever it is. But then the pull happens, and then the guy's coming out on the outside, or whether it's someone who gets the pitch, it becomes a big bowl of confusion. So if I can stuff that middle, and I don't see anybody, and if I'm on defense on the outside, I see that middle is stuff. I'm not worried about you coming up that middle because I know you're not going anywhere. And now I can stay at home, and then I can just basically play the defense that was called. I think that's the play that I think is going to show the biggest impact and allow us to maintain discipline and gas. What are your thoughts on that?
That's an interesting thought, because you're basically saying, because the confidence you have in Amazi or Jonathan Hankins, maybe my initial reaction, my kind of normal reaction to an RPO, I can block that out and just focus on the quarterback. The only thing with that is, depending on the type of team that runs the play, they purposefully don't block you as a defensive end. So whether you're confident in the middle or not, it throws off everything you know about. You're used to having hands on you in football, right? You're used to having to disengage, or you're used to having, a responsibility or dealing with somebody at the line of scrimmage. They're purposely putting you in that position to say you have to guess. Whether you're confident in the middle of this defense or not, you got to guess if I'm going to hand this ball off or not. So if they can somehow trick themselves into not guessing and just saying, I'm just focusing on the quarterback, maybe you're onto something here. Maybe you're onto something. But I think it's going to take them. Who the Cowboys play at the beginning? Okay, they get Daniel Jones. It's probably going to take a couple RPOs for us to see, if they've psyched themselves out of what they've been doing for the last number of years, which is having to guess, is so-and-so getting the ball up the middle, or are they pulling it? And what Philly does is they'll pull it and throw it too. So, they're adding little nuances to this RPO, and it's just making it really tough for the league. And honestly, I'm not trying to sound like, oh, you crying, Sky, but there's teams that do illegal shit too. Like, there's teams that will have their offensive line 2, 3, 4 yards downfield, pull it and throw it. Like, you can't do that, so they got to figure this out to kind of even the playing field, because I think Philly got away with it way too often last year.
Yeah, no, definitely agree. They got to start calling ineligible man downfield. Actually, you're kind of reminding me, one last point on the defense is that your colleague, is it Marquisio? Is that his name? I don't want to mispronounce his name.
We call him Mo, but yeah, Mauricio.
Mauricio. Yeah, so he had an excellent article. I think you may have mentioned it about what having Mozzie is going to help this Cowboys stay out of, and that's that single high safety. I don't ever want to see that single high safety unless we're maybe down in towards the goal line, maybe around the 10 and inside and further in. I just think that single high safety has got to go. I felt like we just absolutely got torched every time we were in that. I have no use for that. Once we went to two-man high safety and discouraged deep passes, this defense pretty much had everybody on lock. So that's sort of another thing to think about.
It's so weird, man, because the defense was absolutely lights out, playing perfectly fine with a suspect cornerback too. And then when that suspect cornerback 2 goes down, and we realize the cornerback that came in for him and the cornerback after that were all significantly worse, then it became super clear that you cannot be in this single high. Like, you have to give them help.
Right.
I don't know this year though, Glenn. Like, the league is definitely turned into a shell league now. It seems like too high, shell, make the quarterback hold the ball, and make teams kind of matriculate down the field seems to be the new wave, which is why the importance of defensive tackles, I think, are back in effect, and why you see the run game kind of coming back a little bit too. But if Dan Quinn elected to do a little bit more single high again this year, I now do think they have the horses to run that. Like, you got Diggs on one side and Gilmore. You could absolutely switch it up a little bit if you wanted to crowd the box some more. against a running team or against a team that does a lot of short stuff, or you wanted to do more spy things with the Dono or whomever it may be, I think you have the ability to do it now, Glenn. But I'm not opposed to cover 2 or too high and running the shell and making teams have to sift through a bunch of bodies.
Yeah, absolutely. Make them run. Make them drive the whole length of the field in order to score. And I'm willing to bet that he won't be able to do it without some kind of malfunction.
That's what they did to Dallas.
One last question.
That's what they did to us, man, a couple years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. One last question, and I'll actually take the answer offline. It has to do with the offense. So I was watching an old Super Bowl back in the day. I think it was Super Bowl 23, 49ers, Bengals. And they were talking about, the West Coast offense and how Bill Walsh used to script like the first 15, 20 plays.
That's where the first 15 came from.
Yeah. I know we're not necessarily going to run sort of the classic West Coast offense with, 20 personnel necessarily. But my question is, are we going to, and I'm glad you even touched on this yesterday, how we need to get back into the position of dictating, right?
Yeah.
And we just got too comfortable in being dictated to, which made you play slower. Are we going to see more scripting? Because I think the importance of scripting is underrated. When you are scripting plays, you're scripting not only because you have things that you want to run, but you're also doing it as a way to gain intelligence, to find out how the defensive coordinator is going to play certain formations and certain packages so that you can come back later with that intelligence knowing what kind of matchups you're going to get. So that's my question. Are we going to see more scripting now that we're shifting and
let me keep you here. Let me keep you here if I can, Glenn, if you don't mind. I think –
yeah.
I'm going to try to change a question. I think it should be more in the line of, are we going to script to, like you said, gain information and adapt? Because all teams script now. Bill Walsh, that was, he kind of implemented that, and all teams have a first 15, even Dallas. But it wasn't the first 15 that was the issue. It was, what are you doing after the first 15? And are you setting the tone with your first 15, or are you just like, hey, this is what we're going to come out in, and then that's that, right? We all had an issue with how Kellen Moore, came out in a lot of these games, because we see a fantastic opening. For instance, the Bears. Go back and watch the Bears opening script. There was a deliberate, and it wasn't even just that first possession. It felt like the first quarter and a half, whole first half, there was a deliberate effort into what they were doing, and then they come out, all right, boom, this is how they attack when we come out in 12 personnel. They're bringing out an extra linebacker, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to come out and 0 running back, 3 tight ends, and we're going to keep them on the field. Where was that throughout the rest of the type of the season? So I think the question, will we see the script? Yeah, we're always going to see a script. I think every team has a first 15, but will we see them be more strategic with it? I'm going to say yes. I feel like there will be more, because every time you hear one of these guys talk, bro, they're talking about details. They're talking about the nuances. They're talking about so many small little things that will hopefully give them an advantage on game day. Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I think that's part of what McCarthy was wanting to see. And, listen, I think this is an opportunity for McCarthy to change the narrative. I think this thing has gotten a little out of hand with people dissing him. And, again, I'm a Cowboys fan, but I think I'm sober when I watch the team. I'm just not going to, pick up the pom-poms. No,
I think this guy is I think McCarthy wants to change the narrative. And so he's had the benefit not only of seeing a lot of the missteps that Kellen Moore has made, but McCarthy knew that these missteps were there. He didn't say anything because he really couldn't. But he also knows he knows this roster like the back of his hand. He knows who Dak is. He knows who he is. He's a quarterback. Maybe he's not a perennial Pro Bowler protection, but we don't need that. I mean, we have the most. I would argue we have the most balanced team in the NFL, and I would argue that up and down that we're at least as balanced as anybody else. I'll make that claim. Other than maybe special teams, I think that's
we're one of the best rosters.
This is an opportunity.
Yeah,
no doubt. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you taking the call. Great show as always, and I'll keep listening.
Appreciate you, Glenn. Let me go ahead and lock these up.
The conference has been locked.
Man, you were saying something there that made me write this down. I don't know why I wrote down year one advantage, but I'm trying to remember. Okay, I know why. So I think I brought this up on Vach's show. We've been hearing McCarthy come out over the last number of weeks, if not months, and talk about how a couple different things are a year one approach. And I've kind of used that as ammo to come at, the Joneses because, you got a coach that's going into his 4th season and has to do a whole bunch of year one approaches. Let me shut this off. Imagine if he didn't. Imagine if this was year 4 approach, right? If this was year 4 into his system, et cetera, et cetera. But let me look at this thing as a half glass full situation. You said McCarthy knows this roster like the back of his hand. That's where I think there could be an advantage to a year 1 approach. Usually, in a year 1 approach, you have a variance. You have either, hey, we haven't seen this before, it's going to go berserk, Sean McVay, right? Or it's, hey, man, everybody's got to learn everything new. It's going to take some time. It's going to be a difficult year, but we'll get through it. We'll have ups and downs, and we'll figure out where we're at the next couple of seasons. I think there's going to be less variance of super crazy offense and, man, it's going to be a struggle. I think there will be a whole lot more kind of a middle ground because he knows this roster, like you said. He knows what did not work with Kellen Moore. You already have an established quarterback. You've got a ton of quality guys already built on this team from offense, from a skill position in regards to CeeDee Lamb, if Michael Gallup is healthy, Brandon Cooks, Tony Pollard. And you got specialty guys, young guys, rookies, and young dudes, and, the Fergusons and Schoonmakers and Vaughns and whatnot. So he's kind of got an advantage installing or tweaking his year 1 stuff than most a Dayball, for example, or any of these other young O'Connell or what have you. He's kind of got an advantage. So if you look at it as half glass full offensively, you could say, hey, maybe we do have we do hit a high variance. Maybe we do hit a Sean McVay situation where Sean McVay came in 2017, offense went crazy because they hadn't really seen that style of offense just quite yet. So, man, I just wanted to bring that up. All right, we got 2 more, then we're going to get up out of here. We got 334 and then 214. What's good, 334?
What's up, Sky? How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. Good morning.
Good morning. I got just 2 things, man. I ain't going to hold you.
All right.
First thing I want to shout out to all the Cowboy fans, man, Cowboy Nation, man. I love y'all, man. Every time I'm a cook, every time I see a Cowboy fan, we always show love, man. That's the best thing about being a Cowboy fan.
That is true.
Every time, man, we always take care of each other.
Hey, look, and can't you always tell too what kind of Cowboy fan they is? Usually, the first thing they say.
Yeah.
Like you can always tell. I love it.
Yeah, I love it, man. Second thing, man, I just was thinking about, man, like I hope they really make a deal with like Tony Pollard, man, because man, just looking at Tony P, like he gonna be he gonna be in this league a long time. You know what I'm saying? He gonna be in this league where he's just gonna bring so much to the table, and now that he gonna be RB1 now, it's like Tony Pollard is gonna be
I think he's gonna be electric.
And I hope that.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. He's gonna be around this league for a long time. I just hope they can just work something out with the deal where they can keep him on board, bro. Because he's gonna just like listen to y'all play the Mike McCarthy, like he's such a professional. You know what I'm saying? That's why I feel like he gonna be here for a minute.
You talking about McCarthy or Tony?
Tony.
Yeah, Tony, man. I think the time to try to extend him for the low was last year. After he came off of his 3rd season where he finally started to break through, they started to use him. I think they should have tried to extend him for the low then because now I know you want to sign him, but I don't know how he comes back to the table under 10 million, under 10, 11 million. And I hate to be that guy, but I don't think they'll do it. I just can't see them paying Tony Pollard 11, 12, $13 million a year, bro. Look, if it happens, I'm wrong, but I don't know if they're going to do that, man.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, you always got new bats coming in, but man, I'll take a chance on it. Man. It's like, cause Tony, man, I mean, like, He
gonna
keep
go
his
off,
body
bro.
and stay healthy.
I think he's gonna go off this year for sure, which is gonna make it harder. Especially if they use him in the passing game more. I mean, I think it was criminal. That was the most criminal thing about Tony Pollard.
Yeah.
Fine. Y'all want to say he can't run the ball between the tackles, which he actually proved y'all wrong. He can. Whatever. But to not get him the ball out the backfield, to not in like an Austin Eckler type way, this dude should have been getting 60, 70 catches, bro. Like, for real. He should have been getting 60 to 70 catches every year because Alvin Kamara type situation.
He's built on using them legs, man. He love it. Like that's his thing, man. You can't just. I mean, he's not that just out the back. You know what I'm saying? That's not him. I mean, that's him. He that's what he do. But man, it's gonna it's gonna be shitty for him to see him in somebody else's jersey doing exactly what we want to see him live.
I don't even want to think about it right now. We got him on our squad, and we chasing that 6 with him. So that's all I'm gonna try to think about until we get there. But yeah, that'd be sick a little bit.
Definitely, man. Man, I appreciate it, man. And enjoy the show, brother. Y'all stay up.
Thanks,
How
man.
about
Salute,
Nathan?
man.
What up?
Have a good weekend, brother. All right, let's get 214. I think this is the Dallas area. What's up, 214?
Hey, what's going on, Sky? Wow, man, I can't believe I'm actually talking to you. I always get to, watch your guys' video, but I never get to catch you live.
Hey, we are.
I did have a question, or something I've been noticing. Like, during draft, I noticed we missed on Osiris Torrance, so we passed on him. But what I heard was that Mike McCarthy had a type of O-lineman that he liked when I was listening to somebody else's podcast. And I noticed it was like 6'4" to 6'6", 34-inch arms, 310 plus, and that's the guys that he likes. And I know we were all worrying about guard, especially me. But when I heard that, I was like, wow, that's what we have on our team. We have a lot of 6'4" to 6'6", 34-inch arms, 310 pounds plus. And I was thinking, I was like, well, maybe that's what we need for this West Coast offense. And that's what I don't know, because I don't really know too much about the X's and O's.
Right.
But I was like, hey, man, we got Adoga. We just got Asim Richards. I was like, we're actually really loaded at guard. And I was wondering if you could answer my questions, X and O's wise, are those the type of guys that would actually work really well in a West Coast type of offense?
So the West, it all depends on the running scheme attached to it. And then we had this conversation yesterday, so great question. And that was and I think a couple days ago we had a conversation. And I even asked Pat Walker this because it's so early to tell. We don't really know. We just don't know what type of rushing attack we're going to have. We haven't really been given the full blueprint of that. He did drop some hints. He did say, hey, our outside zone is going to look different. Okay, so we know we're going to have most teams have an outside zone, but we're going to have an outside zone rushing attack. But how different is that going to be? But what is our staple? What is our identity going to be from a running scheme standpoint? I just don't know what that is going to be yet. Schottenheimer's here, Solari's here. You can maybe guess on what it could be based off of their history, but I just don't know. Now, here's where I will help you, though. It's funny you say that McCarthy has a type physically. I mean, most teams have a physical type for positions, right? But he said something the other day that it's not going to go great for guys that don't want steel at left guard, which I don't. But he said something the other day that kind of reminds me of what you just said. He talked about how they asked him about the whole adding all these tackles to left guard and why he's doing that. And he was like, well, look, you have to be able to run the ball in this league, but you're going to win by pass blocking. So I like the position flex of having tackles going into guard because naturally they're going to be better pass blockers, and you got to be able to block in this league when you drop back to throw the ball. So when you look at guys, Asim Richards, tackle, play guard. Chima Edoga was a tackle, play guard. Now we're seeing Matt Let's-Go, tackle, play guard. God forbid we see Terrence Steele over there, but tackle, possibly guard. Same thing with Tyler Smith. He's a tackle who plays guard. So, that might be the type, and maybe that fits in that description. 6'4", 6'6", 310 plus. Maybe that's a tackle type for him. But I thought that was really interesting, man, that he's looking at position flex of tackles that can play guard as opposed to the Osiris Torrance type guys, which we all wanted a big power dude, a big old, just give me he's sweating pizza grease out of his stomach type in the middle, but he can move a little bit type guy. But apparently they don't want that type dude. They want a guy that has flex to play tackle and guard because they believe in pass blocking in this league. And I can't say he's wrong because the league is a passing league at the end of the day. And you got to be able to protect your quarterback and your biggest investment on the team. But yeah, that's a good ear, man. And I picked up something similar as well.
Okay, yeah, and see, I think the genius thing about that is like it automatically gives you depth. If that's what he's really going for, and what I was worried about with guys that aren't like big sweaty pizza or whatever, like how are they going to do in the pass game when you have guys like Vita Vea pushing up the middle? I figure in the run game that would be great because you got these athletic guys just moving around. You don't really know what's coming if you're going to get trapped or what have you.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for your time.
Oh yeah, no,
and it's so
great
cool
call.
being able to talk to you, man. Love you and guys. Love you and Vaughn.
Thank you, man.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Appreciate the support. Really do. Fantastic call. Yeah, look, if we're going to be more zone, come on, turn off, man. What's going on here? Uh-oh. Am I frozen? Oh, no, we good. If we're going to be more zone, 100%. Makes sense not to get that 340-pound type of guard that if he can't move to the second level well, that's not going to work because in zone you want to get to a spot, right? That's how the zone works. You're all moving as one, and you got to beat your guy to the spot. If you're more power scheme, then it's more in the phone booth, and you're trying to move guys, and maybe you want that big 340-pound guy. And when they hired Solari, when Kellen was gone, got rid of Philbin, we didn't quite know yet. Like, what are we going to be? We said, let's see what happens in free agency. Let's see what happens in the draft, and let's see what happens when these guys start to talk. I do think we're maybe getting an idea that it's not so much about having a super power guy in there. It's more so about a guy that can pass block well and possibly be able to move well if we're going to do more zone. I'm not 100% sure. I mean, maybe you guys know for a fact that this is going to be a zone blocking team. This is going to be a whatever run scheme. I don't know yet. I'm more so waiting to see once we get to camp. I'm more so waiting to hear if Solari kind of spills the beans on that, if McCarthy spills the beans, yeah, we're going to be a more zone team or we're going to be a more power man team, whatever, right? If they come out and say that, then boom, we got our answer. But if not, and they're going to keep it close to the vest, then we're just going to have to get an idea at camp, ideas. I don't think it's going to be any scrimmages, but an idea in preseason, and then obviously when they open the gate. So I'm excited, though, because I do think there's going to be a run scheme. In fact, I think there is a run game coordinator. I think there is an actual title for that, and I don't remember the last time the Cowboys really had that. So I'm excited for it. I think Scott was a passing game coordinator and Callahan was a run game coordinator. So it might have been since 2015 when that happened. All right. With that said, good stuff for kind of a Friday show where it was a bit of a freestyle. We kind of just went off of whatever. But appreciate y'all, man. Really do. If you enjoyed today's show, where the button at, man? There we go. Please, on your way out, hit that like button. Who's trying to? All right, Tyrone want to come in? All right, I'll open it up here, man. When we get one more phone call, up in here, man. Come on in. But I'll still give my salutations. If you enjoyed today's show, hit that like button on the way out. If you are new and you want to be a part of the Bomb Squad in the chat, again, sometimes they have their own show within the show. It's entertaining in there too. You have to be a part of being a subscriber on the channel. All right, we got Tyrone up here. You got to be a subscriber on the channel. And y'all know me. I'm not telling y'all to like it like a YouTuber or subscribe like a YouTuber. Only do so if you enjoy what you see here and you want to be a part of this thing. It's only going to continue to grow. So you might as well get in it on the ground floor. So Tyrone wanted to get in. So let me get Tyrone in. Y'all know he'd be bringing in the flame phone calls. So let's get him up here. What's up, man?
Sorry about that, brother. I've been busy this morning. Get the call in earlier.
Oh, good.
I just had a few questions real quick now to get out your hair. I don't know if y'all spoke about it. How long are you going to give, just from your expertise, how long are you going to give Mike McCarthy the growing pains? How long are you going to give for that gift? Are you going to give it a couple games to go through to say, oh, this is going to work, or it's not going to work? How many games are you going to give that?
I won't be phony. I've always been, give me 4 to 6 games to kind of determine the direction of this team in regards to their ceiling. Because things happen, man. Injuries happen in preseason and training camp. Injuries happen early. And usually injuries, when they happen early, you get a couple games to kind of adapt. So I'll give him a quarter of the season, get about 4 games, I think, to work out some of these kinks. And that's probably the entire National Football League because there's not 4 preseason games anymore. You're really getting like 1, maybe 2 to work out these kinks. And Nate Newton has a joke. Nate Newton calls the first 4 games in the regular season preseason now. So, and I kind of agree with him a little bit. So I'll give this team 4 games to kind of figure out what their an absolute identity. I'm not into absolutes in the offseason because a lot changes by the time you get to September. So once we get about 4 games in, then we should have a better idea.
Gotcha. What kind of advice you got to us fans that's going to be watching the offense and trying to not compare it to Kellen Moore's offense in Chargers land over there? What kind of advice you got for us for that? Brother,
we're just going to have to be patient. I can't tell you how they react emotionally because Tyrone, during game day, I'm gonna be snapping out my damn self. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna be the same one. But it's always the same for me, right? Have your initial emotional reaction, but then let's be sensible and add context to these things when you get a chance. But I get it. Like when we do these shows afterwards, and when the phone lines open up on these radios, no one gives a damn about context. It's all about emotion. So I'm not gonna hold everybody to their emotional reaction immediately. But I would just say, if I had to give advice, don't worry about them.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what the Chargers are doing until you play the Chargers, and then we can start doing our video, our footage and our film work and study. But don't worry about them. There's always going to be some team that has a higher statistical rating or this or that. Worry about your wins and losses and how it's getting done. If we worried about what the Cowboys are doing, and then I think it'll save a lot of emotional trauma about what other teams are doing if you're into that.
Exactly. I'm most excited about. Y'all almost touched on it a couple of shows ago. I'm more excited about seeing Mike with this offense because you go back to his days in Green Bay. Let's be honest. Besides I ain't bringing the Jordan Love thing. Besides that, they're not really the greatest drafting team. I feel like we are way better drafting team. So I'm so glad to see him with this kind of talent that we have. I feel like, in my opinion, I could be wrong. I'm not sure what Randall Cobb and Jordan Nelson's and the guy from Fresno don't have to have draft status was. But I feel like he made those wide receivers. So I'm excited to see him with Brandon Cook and Michael Gallup and stuff like that. I feel like he's going to make these wide receivers better. I'm excited about that. Yeah. I really am.
Yeah, Cowboys are one of the best drafting teams in the league, so, he got that in his advantage. And more recently, they've been, going out, obviously, this past offseason and making moves for other guys where in Green Bay, in his tenure, they really didn't do that a lot. He kind of asked them, and Ted Thompson was like, no, we're not doing that. And he was like, all right, whatever. They did have like a season where they went out and got like Julius Peppers, and he finished his career. Well, not finished, but he had a fantastic career in Green Bay. But yeah, they weren't a team that did a whole lot of free agency or trades. They were kind of a homegrown type situation. But they made a few moves. Look, if we could have the success they had in 2000 and what was it, where Charles Woodson won the MVP 10.
09?
Was that 09 or 10? 2010? Where they got Charles Woodson. They added a couple small veterans, and it worked out for them. That was mostly a homegrown team, though, but they added little pieces. Maybe this can be a similar situation. Early in Mike McCarthy's career in Dallas, they draft well, and they add a few pieces, and boom, next thing you know, we holding up a Lombardi.
Exactly. The only reason I bring it up, everybody keep bringing up the whole, well, he's not a great coach because he only won one Super Bowl with one of the best quarterbacks of all time. So that's the only reason I bring it up.
Hard.
Just because they front office. I just because they front office was better than ours.
It's hard, bro.
But I'm going to finish it off.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No.
I'm just saying it's hard to win a Super Bowl. I think as fans, we have this kind of mad mentality, man. It is hard to do it. If we should know. But I digress.
Yeah. I guess my last one's going to be here for you in the chat. What is one player, either bar injury or just life, that y'all just wish y'all get to see his career fulfilled? Mine would have to be probably Josh Gordon. I just feel like he had that 1 year, he had, almost 1,600 yards with Brandon Whedon.
Yeah.
The dude was just a really good wide receiver. I just wish I got to see his career take off, but we didn't because, the whole marijuana thing is sad, and now marijuana is allowed in the league now, so I just wish I got to see him play.
It's Bo Jackson for me, bro.
Up. Bo Jackson. Yeah. But they help you out.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, thank you so much for opening up the phone for me one more time. And hey, Aisha.
Hey, I told you, Aisha. You ain't believe me. Yeah, for me, it's Bo Jackson. Always with a good question. So Tyrone on the way out said, what player which player's career would you have liked to see kind of play out if it wasn't for injuries or kind of off-field life situations? He picked Josh Gordon. For me, it's Bo knows. One of the greatest athletes ever. I would have loved to see Bo Jackson not have that hip injury. I truly believe he could have been up there statistically with the great ones in this league's history. He, to me, he walked so that Adrian Peterson can fly. Right? So I got Bo Jackson. Some probably say Sean Lee, but Sean he had a good enough career. He played a lot. What would y'all say? Sterling Sharp's a good one, Alpha Mason. That's a good one. Sterling Sharp for sure. I'm actually surprised he's not in the Hall. I mean, when you put guys like TD and short career type guys like that, I mean, I think he deserves to be. That's a good one. Sterling Sharp. How long did that win play before he got injured? I'm trying to think of some Cowboys like that. Pat McQuiston. Are you talking about the offensive lineman for the Cowboys? Marvin says Sharp. Oh, come on, Andrew. Come on. That's the one right there, Andrew. That's the one right there. Sean Taylor. Y'all know how I feel about safety. 100% one of my favorite players ever. And it was crazy because I was fortunate enough to actually see Sean Taylor play in person. And it was one of the most traumatizing games I've ever seen. The whole block field goal situation with Mike Vanderjagt, and he picks up the ball, returns it, gets a face mask, think Kyle Kozer face mask, and added 15 more yards. They kicked the game. Oh, what a terrible ending. But Sean Taylor, Bo and Sean 1A1B for me. I like that one. Sterling Sharp was on TV. I don't know what's good. Why he's not on TV no more. Justin Blackmon, man, I don't know, but Justin Blackmon was lazy. It wasn't even. I mean, you could say the whole alcohol thing, but man, he was lazy, bro. He wasn't even. I think he's kind of overrated. But man. Andrew Luck. That's a good one. Marcus Lattimore, the running back. I remember Marcus Lattimore. Yeah. Now Bobby Allen gonna say Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders had a career, man. He had a long enough career, dog. Eric Williams, car accident. There's some good ones. There's some good ones, man. Always with the fantastic questions to end the show. Tyrone, I appreciate you, man. Truly do. With that said, Cowboys Nation, before we get up out of here, again, I'm giving y'all one last chance because we will be revealing the winner of the giveaway later today on Instagram and Facebook via the post. All you got to do is go to the post. This graphic is posted on Facebook and Instagram. Like the post and comment DC4L. And also sign up on Hattie B's either by downloading the app or going on to the website and redeeming your free $10 gift card. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And you are entered into the signed, let me see here we go. The signed football by Tyler Smith. A little jealous that my guy Nick got a chance to interview Tyler. We're not cutting. But when he did that, we got a chance to get a couple things signed by our rookie of the year in Tyler Smith. So, again, go to the website, redeem your $10 free gift card, or go to the post, like it, and comment DC4L. It's that easy, man. And, hey, we'll be giving away one of these. And Nick will be handling that, so he'll be able to mail this out to you if you are the winner. Damn, that's a good one. Derek Thomas. With that said, it is Friday. Had a fantastic time here today with you guys. Y'all always great, man. Y'all always great in the chat. Really good phone calls today. I appreciate y'all for making this Friday an easy one for me on the way out. Please have a safe and fun weekend, Cowboys Nation. And I'm going to go ahead and press this button. Let's make it 10 sacks, Matt. Matt said 8 sacks for Sam Williams in 2023. He about to go off, dog. He about to go off. Somebody said Matt Johnson, the unicorn. Boy, he was supposed to be something. We out of here. I love y'all. Peace. Luke Kuechly. He had a career, but damn, he ended it short. That's a good one. What about Patrick Willis? Same thing. Had a long enough career, but I feel like he ended that thing short, man. Chris, you talking about Matt? What was Matt's last name? He played for the Jaguars. He was on that Booger Sugar. I forget his last name, Chris.